All right, hello. My name is Bob Jones. I'm here in China. Most of my posts have been about steroids, and since I'm not in America, I'm not worried about the legality of that. I'm here today to talk about what's going on in Wuhan and the actual situation, which has been reported fairly accurately in the news. But in the upcoming days, the Chinese government will continue to reduce the access to Western media and control the outflow of information. I live in Shenzhen, which is on the southeast coast of, uh, of China in Guangdong province. Currently, in my province, we have about 800 cases, which is not very many considering there are about 50 million people in Guangdong. I know in Shenzhen it's around 13 million people. So in my city to have only 300 or 400 cases is very you know it's not something to worry about. Um, we were increasing daily at a rate of about 30 to 40. I have to use about, okay, so 30 to 40, but in the last couple of days it's gone down to maybe like 14 or 15, an increase of 14 or 15. There have been no deaths in Guangdong. Actually, there have been very few deaths outside of Wuhan. And in other countries, the people that died all came from Wuhan, which makes me wonder. And I haven't seen any virologists or scientists talk about this, but um, could it be possible that the further away from the epicenter this disease gets, the less fatal it is, and the less damage it could cause? For example, the R naught. Everybody talks about the R naught. Is it possible that this R naught, while it may be a stable R naught, the amount of damage that it does when it is transmitted from person to person could be reduced a little bit in that transmission. So I think that might be a good thing, because if you look at all the cases in Wuhan, that's where most of the deaths occur. And the further away from that you get, we see a less dramatic fatality rate. It reduces drastically. So it was basically like a viral bomb went off in Wuhan, and they've got that city, as everybody knows, locked down under martial law. Um, Now, what's going on currently outside of most cities? They have erected checkpoints at the major exits and entrances to the highways, and they are stopping every car, and every person in that car has to get out and get their temperature checked. I don't, hey, whatever, that at least they're trying something, but they are also searching the cars to make sure there are no sick people hidden. For example, maybe family members are trying to get out of Wuhan, or they're leaving different cities and they have a sick family member. They put them in the trunk and they try to come back into Shenzhen. Well, they're checking the trunks. Also, at different apartment communities, because the apartments here in China are a little different than they are in America. They're like self contained communities with gates. So if you want to drive in, you have to go through a guard post. They're actually stopping all the cars that are coming into the apartments, which are not very many at the moment, and checking them. They've actually found people trying to smuggle other people in that were sick. So that's good that they're doing that. So what they don't say in the news is that they're doing that. They're actually checking vehicles all over China into major cities to make sure that people from Wuhan have not gotten out, and make sure that sick people being transported are captured. So I feel bad for them. Wuhan is in a really bad state right now. I don't see any hope for them. Now, where I am in relation to Wuhan is about 1,500 kilometers away. It's like going from the middle of Kentucky down to Jacksonville, Florida. So you get an idea of the distance that it is, more or less. So we're pretty far away. In my city, which is a major economic zone, most of the people are from other cities, so they go back to their hometowns, and the city is empty anyway during this time of the year. But this year it's really empty because the businesses originally were supposed to stop until the 10th. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, they sent out a notice to government that said the first 14-day um, nationwide uh, type of quarantine was finished, and now we have to enter into another 14-day nationwide quarantine. So businesses that posted the notices that said they were going to be open on the 10th now will not be open until like the 22nd or 23rd. So that will continue to damage the economy, and people like me who come here for our reasons. Um, Now, will things get worse? I know the infection rate goes up about 2,000 every day, and this number of suspected cases fluctuates daily. There's an app called WeChat, and you can download it. It actually has all the provinces and all the countries that have been affected by it, and it gives you the every morning at 10 o'clock it updates, and it gives you the number of infected cases, the number compared to the previous day, suspected cases compared to the previous day, mortality rate, and treated cases. So it's under top stories, and they have English versions, so you can download that app. And if you have questions about how to navigate it, you can message me, and I'll show you how to do it. I use a VPN on my cell phone. I don't have it on my computer, so I can't upload like screenshots that show you how to actually navigate the system. But I can tell you if you actually download the app. Okay, so that's the infection rate and how to access current information, because in the upcoming days you're not going to get as much information from the news. Hong Kong. Yes, it's true they've closed all the borders except for two. Every person leaving mainland is subjected to a 14-day quarantine. Yes, that's true. Macau. From what I understand, they have not closed off the borders there, but they have closed all the businesses, so that's good. The mortality rate, as I said, in Guangdong, nobody's died. In most provinces, nobody has died other than Hubei. I think there have been a few deaths in some other provinces, but I haven't really researched them because the numbers are so low, like 2. So I go back to my original point and say the transmission rate, while it is high, is probably diluted as it goes from person to person, and there's something going on with that, because it just doesn't make sense that so many people in Wuhan would die, but all these other people, 900 people in Shenzhen, you would think, or Guangdong, you would think one person would die, but no, nobody's died. And it's been about 2 weeks since 3 weeks now since everybody left Shenzhen to go home. So the fatality rate is actually quite low when all things are considered. I don't really know what else to tell you other than I don't see the situation improving. We're going into another, like I said, 14 days of nationwide quarantine. They have pretty much stopped everything. The buses still run. When you want to get on the bus, they take your temperature. Supermarkets are the only businesses that are open. When you go into a supermarket, if you don't have a face mask, which is illegal to be outside without one now, they give you one, and they make you do the temperature check. You have to sign your name if you're Chinese when you enter into the store. In Wuhan, they're going door to door, as most people know. I don't think the situation will get that bad here in Shenzhen or in other cities. But there is a strong military presence, like I said, at the exit and entrance ramps for the highways for most cities, and they have sealed some districts of certain cities that I'm aware of off. But that's not such a big deal, because what are you going to do anyway? I mean, the only place you can go is a supermarket, or walk around your little district area, which, one district can have 5 million people. So a district in one city has more people than some cities in America. But that's pretty much what's going on. I don't see people sick. Of course, I don't hear people coughing and gagging in my apartments, and I don't, we all wear masks, and there's not very many people here. But they've closed the apartment, and all the transactions are done online. The English teaching business is pretty much destroyed, and the online business for teaching is good. In fact, the online aspect for almost any business will increase now, because there's no way to actually do business. The attitude of the Chinese people, I can't speak to that because the people that I come into contact with are like me, and our attitude is just like, well, it's pneumonia and it'll fuck you up. If you have a pre-existing condition or you're not healthy, it'll hurt you. But considering the fatality rate in other provinces, I don't think this is any worse than what's going on in America right now with the regular flu. Because as of September, since September to now, according to reports, 10,000 people have died in America. Now I don't know if people are aware of this, but what's going on in America is potentially worse than what's going on here in China. So people need to be worrying about that. I suggest you guys in America do research and understand how bad this flu season is in America just for the regular flu. So that's what's going on here in China. If you have questions, it's easier if you contact me and post questions so I can answer them, because the information I have is basically what you see in the news, but I'm boots on the ground. So if you have specific questions in regard to specific situations, I can address those more clearly. But it's not that bad, here in the rest of China. But it's definitely hurting the economy, and people are wondering what's going on, because every day people are just stuck at their apartments, and you know it will come to a head at some point, and I don't know um, how extreme the government will be, because they've instituted the death penalty in conjunction with certain kinds of behavior for in reaction to the situation. So it could get pretty bad. I don't know. I don't think it will, because, as I said, the infection rate will. It seems to be going down, and here in my city anyway, and in other cities as well. But this is not going away, and I think that people need to accept the fact that a new kind of pneumonia exists, and that's just how it's going to be. So until they find a vaccine for it, China is going to be in a bad situation. This quarantine could go on for another month or two. So, all right, that's it. Like I said, if you have any specific questions, please feel free to message me and post the questions. I'll answer them as best I can. Okay, thanks, and I wish you all the best and good health.